What is good? We're back. And we've got our buddy Cole with us, who has made a really fun, I'll call it a hybrid kind of game for fantasy football and Survivor, kind of put together, called Fantasy Football Survivor. Cole, what's up? He's here to tell us about this game and how it works and how you came up with it.
Hey, what's up, guys? Yeah, I appreciate you having me on. I'm a software developer professionally and fantasy football, fanatic, just like the rest of us. And my friends and I have kind of been playing this little side game in an Excel sheet for the past 5 or 6 years. And, we really enjoy it. We have a lot of fun with it. And I thought, hey, why don't I, build something where we can make this more legit and actually build out a platform where we can play. And, spent the last several months grinding on this, and I'm really happy to, release it and show everybody what it is.
Yeah, well, we've had it. We've shared it with some of our people. It's pretty simple, not in a bad way, but it's very simple, very easy to understand. You don't have to have a huge depth of knowledge to play this game, right? So tell us a little bit about how this works and what the end goal is here.
Yeah, so it's like you said, it's a hybrid between Survivor leagues and fantasy football. So we've all played the Survivor leagues where on week 1, you pick a team. If they win, you advance to week 2. If they lose, you're out of the pool. And you can only select a team once per season. So, it might last 10, 11, 12, 15 weeks, depending how many people are in the pool. But I thought of a way to kind of play fantasy football like that too, where, instead of doing a draft and drafting a team for the whole season, you kind of just use a lineup per week, and you can only use one player once per season. So that's kind of like the little twist. And, we eliminate the bottom percent every week. So if we have 100 people playing, all you have to do to survive that first week is, beat out 5 people, 5%. And then, you move on to week 2, and then, you set a new lineup and you can't reuse any players. So it's kind of a nice balance of scoring points this week to advance versus, hey, I might want to save Bijan Robinson for, week 9 or 10. But it would be a shame to, not use a guy like that and then get eliminated. So there's a lot of strategy that comes into it. And, my friends and I have had a really fun time playing this past couple of years. And I think you guys are really going to get a kick out of it.
Yeah. So could you show us a sample of how the lineups work and what would be that? There's also a coach feature in here.
Yeah, for sure. So this might look a little bit familiar, like most fantasy, kind of platforms that you use. But so you pick whichever week you're on. So we'll go to week 1. You go through and you can pick your quarterback. We've got all our guys in here that we want. I already have my lineup set here. Might have to change it so you guys don't have all the intel on me. Don't want to play Rashee Rice with his suspension. But yeah, there's plenty of people here you can choose from. Just go ahead and pick one for every, selection that's here. And then, like you mentioned, we have a coach, position, which is pretty unique to this, where if your coach, if his team wins, you get 10 points. If he loses, you lose 10 points. So it's a little bit like a pick 'em, and it's a fun way to add a little money line action onto fantasy football. So yeah, you can just go through here. You set your lineup. If you click on the leaderboard, you'll see everybody that's submitted their lineup. When you click on somebody, the people that they chose are going to be hidden until the kickoff of their game starts. So right on Thursday night when that game kicks off, this will be live. This will show who had, players that are active in that game. The leaderboard is going to update dynamically, every 15 or 30 seconds. So you'll be able to get a live look at where you sit on the leaderboard. And like this says, the cut line will be drawn when the game has started. So there's going to be a red line that gets drawn on here. And all you have to do is stay below that and just stay off the chopping block. And so, yeah. What
determines who gets cut?
So there was a good amount of thought that went into this. Like the Survivor pool, it's really easy. It's binary. It's, you were right or you're wrong. You're in or you're out. Here, we kind of had to figure out a way to make it fun and competitive and keep people engaged. So I actually used a math formula and used a bell curve type equation where we're going to eliminate X percent of people per week, and it'll go down. And one thing that's really nice is once the week starts and we have our final number of contestants, this is going to update dynamically. So if we see here, we've got 129 people that are signed up to play. it'll say, 8 out of 129, and it'll show the percentage, and you can get a feel for how many the percent's going to be by week. If you want to see how many people are going to get eliminated on week 10, if you go to week 10, 17% of people are going to get eliminated because the pool's going to get smaller, and you're going to need to score more points. So you got to save all your ringers for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's super simple, super fun. There's definitely a decent amount of strategy that can go into this. I'm excited to get my hands on it and kind of see how that first week goes, see who plays what and how everybody kind of approaches it. Have you found any sort of strategy through playing this over the years that is more advantageous than not?
Yeah, so we usually play this game during the playoffs, and you kind of make your picks based on who you think is going to lose that first week. Mm-hmm. So if you think there's a really good player on a team that might not be so good, and you think they're going to get eliminated in that first week, it's like, hey, I want to play Jaden Daniels the 1 week he's there. So this adds a little bit, to that. And the thing I like about it too is that you don't get totally killed by injuries. Obviously injuries in the game you can't avoid, but how many people last year drafted Christian McCaffrey first and you just lose? Right. So, this kind of allows you to do the daily fantasy type games with the season long output, because you got to kind of keep your roster construction for the course of the year. And like I said, you got to balance, scoring points to advance versus scoring points when you're going to need them, down the line. But I think it's going to be awesome. I think it's going to be really cool when guys like Bill, get some play when, that third, fourth stringer come in. Some of the guys that, have good ball knowledge, they're going to be able to slide in a backup tight end that might score some points. And all they have to do is edge it out so they can keep, Brock Bowers for, that final matchup, because you're going to want a strong lineup in the finals, but you're going to have to get there first. Yeah, exactly. So I'm really curious to see, the way people go with it. It's just a fun, fresh, new take on fantasy football. The time requirement to set a lineup is really minimal. It's going to be interactive. As the games are happening, you'll be able to see the leaderboard updating, and you'll be able to see where you're at. And eventually we're going to make it so that you're going to create your own pool and, invite your own friends and kind of expand it like that. So this year we're kind of focused on getting one big pool, running, just to make sure that it's fun and people like it, totally free to play. There's going to be some prizes, which we can talk about in a little bit. But the main goal is we built something fun and we want you guys to play it. And, we'll see where it goes from there. But go ahead and get signed up and play around with the tool. And I think you'll really like it. It's easy to get around. There's not a whole lot to it, but I think it's going to be a really good addition to your football season.
Yeah, I'm super excited about it. And this is at fantasyfootballsurvivor.com. You can go check that out. Like you said, super easy to sign up, free to play. There'll be a prize pool kind of at the end. And it's a nice hybrid between some strategy and some fun. So what kind of prize pool do you have in this free contest?
Yeah, so I'm for our grand prize, it's the main event. We want it to be special. I like to play poker, and there's no poker tournament like the main event. It gets the people going. And so for the grand prize, for the person that wins, I'm going to give away 2 tickets to an NFL game of their choice next season and a authentic jersey of their choice. So the winner of this pool, and I also plan on, building this site as we play on it. So there's going to be like a Hall of Fame, tab where you can see winners of the main event in the past, and, they can post a picture from, the game they went to or the jersey they got. So I want this to be a fun, interactive, platform where, people that like watching football and playing fantasy sports can kind of hang out. And I think it's going to be a really cool, platform that's going to grow. And I'm really excited to have you guys on it.
Yeah, like you said, there'll be plenty of guys with a lot of ball knowledge, but this is certainly something that your wife and girlfriend or whoever,
totally.
You don't have to have an extensive knowledge to be able to play this.
Exactly. And I'd like to think that most of the people that are watching this video probably watch more fantasy football content than most, but I did design this in mind with keeping this fun for super casual people. I got my mom involved. My sister's playing. My girlfriend was the one that had me put the pictures of the players so that she could set her lineup based on who she thought was cute. Yeah. So get your girlfriends playing, get your wives playing. I mean, I have multiple girls that are playing that they don't watch football at all, but this could be, that kind of way to keep them interested. My sister watched the Netflix shows, the quarterback and the wide receivers. So, she picked Amon-Ra St. Brown, and she's like, oh, he was from the Netflix show. So this will be just a fun way to probably end up losing to someone like that. You can put in all the work and subscribe to the FF Dynasty, and you're going to lose to someone that picked Tua Tagovailoa because they liked the way he looked.
That's right. I mean, that's a perfect way to kind of maybe get the wife or somebody else off your back of like, hey, you can be included in this too. You don't have to know a whole lot. And it's not as you don't feel as locked in as you do with a fantasy. You don't have to draft. You don't have to set the you don't have to like continuously, meticulously set lineups and add waiver wires and do all these. You just come in here one time a week, bang out a lineup. And then I'm going to assume the guys that you pick just automatically get eliminated or be grayed out, right?
Oh, yeah. There will be, you'll know if you get out. So, on the leaderboard, the people that get axed will have a line through it. And, when they try to go to week 2, it'll say like, hey, sorry, you didn't make it.
Yeah.
So we're really going to incentivize people to try to make it through and, set their lineups. Like I said, it doesn't take long. And the beauty is, if you forget to set your lineup all weekend, you could get by picking all Monday night players. It might not be the best strategy, but, it could work. It could save you a week. If you're camping in the mountains for a weekend and, you can't access the internet, you get back on Monday afternoon, it's not going to kill you. So the slots will lock based on the players' games. And we really wanted this just to be a fun, flexible, enjoyment to add on to your Sundays.
Yeah. So make sure you go over to fantasyfootballsurvivor.com and make sure you sign up before Mondays or what's the cutoff date here?
We're going to do a Monday night for the main event because that's when the kickoff Monday starts, all the slots will lock. So then the main event will be closed, but we definitely have plans to open up some side pools. If you joined late or if you found the website, we're still going to make sure you can interact and play with this and have fun. So we're going to keep things going throughout the season, definitely for the playoffs too. But maybe we could do a back half of the season thing. We really can do whatever we want here. So we just want to build something where you guys can have fun. And I'm glad you guys are, interested in, help building it.
Yeah, we're excited to be partnered up here with you and a part of trying to get the word out to play this game because I think it's a really, really great idea, a lot of fun, and really simple. So, Cole, appreciate the time. Awesome job on the build here. Looking forward to the season.
Thanks so much. Appreciate you guys.